Hello and welcome. My name is Taylor Darcy. Today we're going to be talking about how to find a lawyer you can trust. This video is so important because the legal industry gets a bad rap, unnecessarily I might add. The majority of the legal profession are good people that want to help. They went to law school to help. They went to law school to be better and to help people in need. So finding an attorney you can trust is very important, but just keep these thoughts in mind as you're looking for an attorney. If you're new here, my name is Taylor Darcy from Think Legal, where I help you create the business of your dreams. So welcome. Don't forget to subscribe and or like. We go live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to discuss things that are important to your needs, your legal needs. If you haven't subscribed, don't forget to hit that bell icon so you get notified of when we go live. The reason why these are important is because when you don't know what you're looking for, you'll find it. I know that sounds, or you'll find exactly what you don't want. And so this video really has a lot to do with finding what you want and what type of an attorney you want to have so that you can have the best outcome of your matter possible. Is there a guarantee that any of these things will guarantee you to have a good outcome? The answer is no, because there's nothing that they can do to guarantee an outcome. And any attorney that guarantees an outcome is a fool, and you should never hire that attorney. Never hire an attorney that guarantees any outcome, because they are setting you up for failure and disappointment and frustration, and you're just going to be unnecessarily frustrated. There's no reason to do that. So, number one, start with asking friends and family if they have any referrals. Because although they might have a referral to a personal injury attorney, okay, that personal injury attorney knows other attorneys. And especially other attorneys love to give out referrals and are more than happy to do that if they get them in, right? And so it's I don't want to say it's a form of currency, but I love giving out referrals to my attorney client friends because I know that they'll be taken care of. I know they'll do a good job. And so whenever it's a matter that I don't handle, I'm happy to always give a referral to someone else to say, hey, you go take care of this because I want you to have a great experience, and I'm not the right attorney for that. So asking friends and family for a referral can give you a great direction to head, that this is like the beginning of that process. It's a little bit like being set up on a blind date, okay, at this point. You want to make sure that you're getting good reports from people that you trust already. And it's easier to hire an attorney that you already have trusted. So that's number one. Number two, look up the attorney online. Check out their website. See what it says about them. More importantly, see what it says about how they can resolve your matter. If they talk more about themselves than they talk about what they can do for you, that's a little minor red flag, but that's very common. So keep that in mind, that just because they talk about themselves doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But the ones that really understand will talk about your problem more than they'll talk about themselves. You should always find out details about them. Their About page is a great resource to giving what it is they've done, what it is they do, and where they're headed in that respect. So doing your research, see if they've already done topics on these. Like, I post my videos on my website so that you can see them there as well as on YouTube. That's another way. And also look them up on the State Bar website. It is typically, especially in California anyway, it is very easy to find somebody because it will let you know if they have any disciplinary action against them that could impact your case futuristically. Now, this is true. You can do for opposing counsel as well as for your attorney that you're looking for. So keep that in mind, that the purpose of that is not to necessarily make an absolute judgment call, but you want to look at their record, see if they have any disciplinary records. That's where it will be, is on the State Bar website. And that'll give you a good feel of who they are, what they do, and why they do things. If there is no record, that's usually a pretty good sign, and that's usually how it works. So these are all indicators. You shouldn't rely on any one method for deciding what's right or wrong for you and whether you trust someone or don't trust someone. If it's someone that you've been referred to and they do have a record, give them an opportunity to discuss it with you if you want to take it to that level, because you're only going to see what the record says according to the state bar. You're not going to get the full story. So you are going to want to bring it up, but make sure you're doing it with the context of understanding why they made the mistake that they made or that they got whatever happened. So give them the benefit of the doubt. If they're still practicing, they probably just made a mistake, and yes, there had to be consequences, but give them the benefit of the doubt that if they were a really, really bad lawyer, they would have been disbarred. Okay. Just know that ahead of time. You wouldn't have to worry about it if they're a really bad lawyer, because they would already be disbarred. So typically, not that that's the guarantee that they're a great lawyer, but these are just, like, again, I say, indications of what type of lawyer they are. The next thing that you want to do is check out any Google reviews, Facebook reviews, Yelp. Take them with a grain of salt for a couple of reasons. Take those reviews, I should say, with a grain of salt for a couple of reasons. Number one, depending on who they are, they will curate the reviews that are positive and eliminate the ones that are negative. Now, that isn't to say they have the ability to do that. It's that Google, like, typically attorneys will only send review requests to people that have had positive outcomes. And then the flip side of that is sometimes the people that have had negative outcomes, even though it wasn't the attorney's fault, will still leave a negative referral or a negative review, even though it wasn't actually the attorney's fault. So a 1-star isn't necessarily indicative of anything other than a disgruntled client. It's kind of like, you got to look at the preponderance of the evidence. If they have 400 or 1,000 reviews and they've got, 3 or 4 or 5, 10, even 20 1-star reviews because they couldn't do perfect, then that's a non-issue, right? They've had successful outcomes in thousands of matters. Great. Even if it's a couple hundred. If you get a 1-star review or even 20, 30 reviews and you get a 1-star out of that, again, not a big deal. There are a lot of reasons why that could have been true. And then you also have to take it with, again, that grain of salt and sometimes a salt lick. If it's a too one-sided, especially when they've got glowing reviews on other things, there could be a lot of reasons why they're leaving a 1-star review. So I wouldn't trust it entirely. Again, these are all factors. Keep that in mind. I know I'm repeating it, but I don't want you to put stock in any one absolute way of knowing that they are a good or bad attorney or that you should trust or not trust them. I want you to take all of these things into consideration while you're making the choices that you are. The next thing that you're going to want to do is, after you've narrowed it down to 2 or 3, you want to schedule a phone call or a Zoom call these days with them to get a feel for who they are, how they present themselves, if there's somebody that you like, if you don't like, if they just irritate you from one reason or another, whatever it may be. Now, if it's a consultation, if it's a transactional matter, most of the time those are going to be paid. And it's worth paying it, because it's worth paying a little bit to see that you don't like them than to pay a lot to find out you don't like them. Okay, so having a paid consultation, is a great way to get at least your foot in the door with the attorney and see if they are a good fit for you for a bigger, larger matter. And what I do with my clients is, if you pay me for a consultation, I apply that if you hire me to the next thing, if you hire me. But then I'm getting value out of it. I'm giving you my time, and everybody wins that way. And if you choose not to hire me for the matter, then you've lost, relatively speaking, little. Now, I make sure that I give actionable steps in my consultation so that it's not just a bunch of advice without anything behind it, okay? Every attorney's different. That's what I do. So this is why having these scheduled things. If they don't want a full-on consultation, what I do is I do a 15-minute discovery call. And a discovery call is just a simple way of me finding out the facts of the case or the facts of the matter to see if I can assist them. And if I can, then we move towards the next thing. And to get just a general feel for whether it works for both parties. Because trust goes both ways. I have to trust that what you're going to say or do is true, or that I can help you. And you have to trust that I'm going to be the best advocate for you in that respect. So keep those thoughts in mind, that trust goes both ways. So you want to do things that will help you build trust with your attorney as well. Having documents prepared ahead of time. We talked about this in other videos, but really making sure that you're coming prepared, that you're listening, that you're willing to defer to their judgment when it comes to things that are the attorney's judgment. There are going to be things that are going to be your judgment that the attorney is going to want to defer to. So this is the building of that trusting relationship that you're going to want to do in an attorney-client relationship. The next thing is you're going to want to ask probing questions about your matter. Things that they're to make sure that they've done or something similar for a while, or that they've, like I have a defamation case I'm working on right now, and someone actually called about a similar, almost mirror image matter on that. And so I was talking to them from what I'd already been doing with this other matter that I'd been assisting with. So it's that type of thing where you can have a real discussion by asking probing questions, like deep questions that obviously won't exceed attorney-client privilege or confidentiality or any of that type of thing. The next thing is you're going to want to ask, what is their personal philosophy on a case? Now, in some instances, some people are bulldogs. They're going to go after, I don't mean to give bulldogs a bad name. I love bulldogs. I love dogs in general. But I mean, as far as like, are they going to be a dog with the bone that isn't going to let it go, and it's going to, they're going to go crazy? Sometimes that's good for you. Sometimes it's not good for your wallet, because they're going to take more time and spend more money. And so if it's worth it to you, then absolutely, by all means, spend the money on the bulldog. But if you're more of a, que sera, you just want your right, you want to be protected, you want your day in court, or you just want to be protected in the matter, then, a peacemaker or a problem solver attorney is going to be a better fit for you. You're going to get a better outcome, or relatively speaking outcome, based on the amount of money that you're spending. It may not be a perfect outcome. No outcome typically is in court. I will be honest with you. Rarely is every outcome going to be exactly perfect or what you're hoping for. You need to understand that. You need to understand that patience and understanding of the process, because the litigation process is long and costly and tiresome, and it's difficult. And so when you put it in context, a win is a win. Sometimes it's not the win that you're hoping for, but there it is. So you want to ask what type of an attorney they are. One of my mentors says, and I like, is that there are two types of attorneys, really. There are problem creators and problem solvers. And asking the attorney what type they are will give you a good indication of what it's going to cost you. If they are problem solvers, then it will probably, I can't speak for every attorney, it'll probably cost you less than a problem creator, but your outcome may not be perfect. So keep these thoughts in mind when you're discussing this. The next thing, and this they may or may not do, but it's a good way to kind of get a feel for them. Ask them if they'd be willing to share some work they've done, a redacted copy of something, to find out, to see their writing style, to see their argument style, to see their thought processes on things. Now, again, they may not do it, but it's worth a shot in asking. It doesn't hurt. If they do it, great. This gives you one more arrow in that quiver of making a decision and building and starting that trust relationship that you're going to want to have with your attorney. But this will give you an idea of whether or not they are going to be a good fit for you. And that's really what this is about, is finding an attorney you can trust by building that relationship. It's not dissimilar to having a dating relationship, where each step that you take is the step till the next take. Just like, for instance, one of the reasons why I do these videos is to help build trust with my potential clients, so you can get to know me before you even see me, so that you understand that I'm here to help, not just here to charge you. And that's why these videos are free, and that's why I do what I do, because I want it to be something that you understand that I spend quite a bit of time on doing videos for the sake of building this relationship with my potential clients. and helping them the best way I possibly can. That brings me to the last step, and this is probably the most crucial, is after weighing all of the facts, go with the attorney that most aligns with your values and goals. And that's a fancy way of saying go with your gut, but you want to rely on facts to go with your gut. If they don't fit, then it doesn't matter the outcome, you will be unhappy with your representation. If they do fit, if your outcome isn't perfect, you will know that because they align with your goals and values, that it was the best outcome possible because they made it so. They made the best decision possible for you. So these types of things will give you, even if you fall short in your outcome on something, this will give you you'll feel better about the outcome, even if it's not perfect, because of the way that the attorney treated you and the relationship that you had with them. Again, these are all factors. These are all things that you need to consider. You need to take a look at it from a relationship building process. Don't think that just because one of these things is slightly off, that it's indicative of bigger issues. It might be, okay, I'm not going to suggest that it's not, but you really want to make sure that you're going into this with your eyes wide open, so that when you're in the relationship, so to speak, when you're in the litigation process or working on the matter or whatever the scenario that's happening right then and there, that you are happy with who you've got representing you from that perspective. They don't have to be perfect. No attorney is perfect. No attorney is going to be 100% all the time. They're human, and the case is never perfect. Cases are never perfect. Your situation is never perfect for us to advocate for. So you have to take all of these things into context and remember that we are your advocates, and to trust us that we are doing the best that we can on your behalf. So if you've gotten value out of this video, don't forget to hit subscribe and like and be notified when we go live, and we'll talk to you later. Have a great one.